Welcome to week 2, boys and girls. How are you? Welcome into our NFL Thursday Night Football pregame show, live stream, whatever you want to call it, here for the Daily Juice and Betting Pros. My name is Matt Perrault, with you for the next 30 minutes right here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Here's how this is going to go tonight. Bills and the Dolphins. Dolphins hosting, the number still 2.5. Little buyback on the over to 48.5. We'll break that all down here in just 1 second. I got 15 minutes with just me. Well, I'll tell you the picks and plays, some of which have already been given out on the Daily Juice this morning, overnight. 2 more plays I'm going to add here to our card. And then we can do some questions. You guys can ask questions about this game. You can ask questions about the game on Sunday. If you have any thoughts on what's happening on Saturday, even, we can get into whatever you guys want to get into here for a couple of minutes as we get into this divisional matchup between the Buffalo Bills, who did not cover in their first game against the Arizona Cardinals, laying 6.5 at home. They won by 6. And the Miami Dolphins, who did not cover in their first game, laying 3.5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they won by 3. This number's been interesting. This number hasn't moved. It's been 2.5, pretty much the entire week. We've seen some injury news come out with the fact that we're not going to see Mostert here for the Dolphins. Achane is playing for the Dolphins, which is gigantic. He was questionable, but him being in this game really, I was going to take the Dolphins anyway, but I was more inclined. I felt more comfortable now that we've got him on the field here. I'm really curious about the weather. Okay. We're going to watch this. We're going to see how this plays out. It's going to be hot. And that's another reason why I'm taking Miami to win this game here tonight and cover the 2.5-point number, because I think in the fourth quarter, you have a team from Buffalo playing the second game of the season on a short week in the humidity, the mugginess, and it's supposed to feel like 105 on the field here tonight. That's going to drain you. Now, the sun's not out. That's a huge break for Buffalo because we know what Miami has done. They stick the visiting team in the sun. That's a drainer. Trust me, I'm in Vegas. I know what the sun can do to you. But no sun tonight. But it's still going to be really hot. It's still going to be September, sticky. Miami is used to it. They live in it. They practice in it. They're aware of what happens to your body when you're outside exercising for 4 quarters and for hours. So I think there might be a problem here. There could be an issue coming through when it comes to the just the overall game readiness. I mean, we saw it in week 1. So we had a 14-3 mark, I believe it was, for favorites. We saw a 9-7 mark for favorites ATS. If you were favored, you won the game, except the Falcons and the Patriots and the Browns. Those are the 3 teams that won. Or no, sorry, the Bengals, the Falcons, and the Browns. 3 teams who were favored who lost. Everybody else who was favored won in week number 1, which happens from time to time, mind you, right? But we saw 188.5 yards average passing per team in week 1. We saw 121.5 rushing per team in week 1. That's a stunning stat. Both those stats for rushing, it's the second highest week 1 total this century. And it's the lowest total this century for passing. Now, Tua, who's in this game, he threw for over 300 yards against the Jaguars in that come from behind victory. He had to throw because they were behind. That's why the number was really high. He's gotten hurt against Buffalo before. He got hurt last year against Buffalo. Week 1, 175 yards passing. I don't think he'll have that few of numbers here tonight, but I don't think either team is just going to throw the ball all over each other. I think you're going to see a lot of running. I think you see a lot of Achane getting the football and trying to find different ways of getting him the ball and being creative. They've got a rookie 4th-round pick they're busting out here tonight for the Miami Dolphins. Let's see what they can do. Kid runs a 4.38 40. They're really high on the kid. So let's see what happens with Buffalo handling the speed. Tyreek Hill, obviously, we saw what he did. 80-yard touchdown toss, catch and reception in the game against the Jaguars. That was after getting detained before he got to the stadium. Hopefully there's none of that going on here tonight for him, and the team can just get to the stadium, get in uniform, and go play football and not have any altercations with law enforcement. So I'm super interested and excited to see how this game's going to play out, but I think that's an interesting piece. Smith, like weather conditions. Like what are we doing? Like, let's see what happens. And Jalen Wright is that player, right? The 4th-round pick. He can fly. I don't think Buffalo wins, but the numbers would indicate that on Thursday night, you've got a 6-0 record for Josh Allen on Thursday Night Football. You have a 1-7 record straight up for the Miami Dolphins when Tua is the quarterback up against the Bills. He patches about 207 yards per game against Buffalo. That's not great. Okay. That's not tremendous. I'll be curious to see how it all plays out. All right. So what are my plays for tonight? If you guys were watching or listening to the Daily Juice, I'm just going to run through them because you know most of them. Okay. I'm taking the Dolphins laying 2.5 here. If it was 3, I might take the Bills. Okay. This number being below 3, call it a trap line, call it whatever you want. Okay. But I think the Bills losing this game by 3 points on a last second field goal is really possible. Okay. 3 or 4 points for the Dolphins to win this game at home in September. Again, I think the fourth quarter comes into play. I think Josh Allen is an interception machine. I could see an interception in the fourth quarter costing the game here. I like Miami to win the game and cover. Bills plus 8.5. I've taken that number from 2.5 up to 8.5. I can't wait to see if we get any late money coming in here. And no one wants to go to 3. The Superbook here in Vegas, they've got it in -113. I mean, there's money coming in here on Miami late. These books do not want to go to 3 because they know they could get cited here with dropping that number to 3. Someone lays a 2.5. The number falls 3, which is the most, 35, 40% of the time that number is falling 3. So it falls there. They lose the 2.5 and they get pushed on the 3, on the +3. They don't want that. Okay. Because they know what the pros are going to do if they get any 3s across the board. Dolphins -2.5, Bills plus 8.5. And then I teased it up. I got it at 49. It's 48.5 currently. It's pretty much cemented at 4.5. There's one place offshore that's at 48. So they've seen quite a bit of under money coming in here. It's a primetime game. Primetime games have gone under, although the Monday night game did not go under. And you got 2 divisional teams that, generally speaking, the first time that they play, generally speaking, we're talking about an underplay. Okay. So I'm just going to give it 6 points extra and I'm going to go up. Bills plus 8.5 and the under 55. If you don't like the under, you don't like playing unders and you want to flip that, you can take 48.5. You can pull it down to 42.5 and bet over. I'm wondering if the Jaguars and the Dolphins game was sort of a precursor to what this game is going to look like. It's the first Thursday night of the year. These guys are sore after the first game of the year. Like you play, you get crushed so many snaps. It's, that was a hard fought win for the Dolphins. The Bills got a massive scare out of the Cardinals at home. Now they're on the road. It just feels like an under game, but it also could lead to turnovers, and turnovers tend to lead to over. So if you don't like the 55 and go under that, go over 42.5, go over 42. That's not crazy. But 2017, the final score of the Dolphins game against the Jaguars, you don't get there. You don't get there. Now, the Bills, obviously 34-28, that flies over that number. So we'll see how this game plays out. But we've all seen enough Thursday night games that I just think 55 and going under on 55 is the smarter way of playing it. Now, to the props. Tua under 268.5 yards passing. I told you earlier, Tua Tagovailoa is averaging 207 yards per game in the 8 games he's faced the Bills. He's 1-7 straight up, and he has only averaged 207 yards passing. Again, passing in week 1, Tua was the lone exception, or one of the lone exceptions, to really throw a ton of yards. He went over 300, the average team 188.5. So they were the outlier when it came to week 1 passing the football. I think tonight we see it come back down to earth a little bit here. I don't think Tua throws all over this Bills secondary, but he might. Okay, he might. But I think they're going to look to run the ball a lot tonight up against the Bills. We saw a lot of scrambling. We saw a lot of, broken plays for the Cardinals that led to scoring plays and led to the offense being moved in that Bills defense. Bills secondary is a little bit shaky, so we'll see what that number turns into. But as long as we're not getting an 80-yard touchdown reception from Tyreek Hill, I think we're going to be going on under 268.5 passing for Tua. James Cook, over 18.5 yards receiving. He went over this number easily in week number 1. Screen game, I think, could be big for Buffalo here with James Cook. Get him the football in space. Let him get up against a linebacker. See what he can do. He can pop this. This could be one reception for James Cook for him to go over. Keon Coleman had a big game. Rookie had a big game for the Bills in week 1. Rookies from week 1 to week 2, if they have a big game, I tend to fade them in week 2. I think they end up having a lesser impactful game because now you're in the game plan. No one knows what you can do in that first game. Now it's on film. Now teams can go, oh, that guy can play. You better cover him. You better put somebody on him. I don't think Keon Coleman has nearly as big of a game as he had in week number 1 against the Cardinals. And Tyreek Hill, anytime touchdown, is sort of just one of those bets that you almost like have to make. given how much he has the football in his hands from the screen game, from the power sweep game, and obviously the bomb game that they're going to have with him. I don't think Buffalo is going to be able to contain him in the red zone. They look for Tyreek Hill like crazy. They find different ways to get the football into his hands. It's only minus 110. You can bet that at DraftKings. Only minus 110. I think that's a good play to go with anytime touchdown for Tyreek Hill here tonight, for him to get into the end zone and for him to score. So I looked around at a couple of other, like, if I thought that Tua was going to wind up under on his passing yards, to go and look at like a Waddle and go under Waddle for his receiving yards. But I get a little bit scared when it's like 65, 66, because really it's like 3 or 4 catches and they're going to target him. They're going to get him the football. I get a little bit concerned about laying that because I'm like, I don't know. I get scared because he might wind up having it. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. I'm going to open it up. You guys can fire questions and thoughts. I'll roll through it here. You know what I'm on here for Thursday Night Football. Let's see what you guys are on here for that. From Zach, Matt, how do you feel about Jeff Wilson Jr. over 29.5 yards rushing? I do think he could get the ball more. I think he could be a definite guy to look at in a weapon here in this football game, running the football. So I don't mind that at all for him. These are these numbers that you start looking at and you're like, okay, do we really have any clue? Game script will matter. How these players are going to be used will matter. 30 yards rushing, you're going to need 3 or 4 carries. How many carries is he going to get? How many carries do they want to give him? He gets 4, he gets 5. Not horrible. Let me see. We've got at DraftKings, you can stagger it. You can do over 25 for 160, over 40 for plus 190, over 50 for plus 380. Just depends upon how aggressive you want to get here with Wilson and his ability to run the football here tonight. Tua over rushing yards, Ali, was one of that dropped off my card. I mean, that was close. He is so injury prone, and he's one big hit that I get worried about betting his rushing numbers. Like, I get concerned about it because I'm like, man, it's so low. It's 4.5. It's one scramble, right? It's 1 3rd and 6 he picks up with his legs, and you get the over. It's minus 120 to the over. It just, when he runs, he exposes himself to big contact hits, and that can literally end his career. So that's my only worry about that, is like, does he want to run? Is he willing to run? I don't know. I don't know. J-Dow, tease the Bills to 8.5, take Detroit down to -1. Don't hate that. I mean, I don't hate that. I don't think that's a horrible play to stay away from a total in week 2 and just get involved with another game. Tampa is on the road at Detroit. That number is up to 7.5 now at every book. So the move came in on the Lions at home against the Bucs. It was 6.5 at open. Now it's 7.5. So you're pulling it down to 1.5. I mean, that's a game. The total is too high for a Wong teaser, but I could definitely be seeing myself getting involved with the Lions at home, just laying 1.5. I think that's really possible. Bills plus 8.5 is going to hit. I mean, I'm hoping, Mac, but I don't know. I got to see how that's going to go. We'll wait and see. Ooh, alt spread Bills minus 5.5, parlayed with the Saints money line. Okay, if you guys are new, I hate parlaying. Okay, I like teasing. I don't like parlaying, but you're telling me the New Orleans Saints are going down to Dallas and beating a Dallas team that looked tremendous in week 1. I mean, like, I'm considering laying the points and laying 6 with Dallas, let alone taking the Saints to win the game. It's got to be a decent payout, Ali, because you're taking a 2.5 point dog on the road, flipping it to a 5.5 point favorite, and then taking the Saints money line. I mean, heck, if you hit that first leg, what are you getting? Plus 300, plus 400 on that? You're probably going to be able to hedge on the other side and guarantee a profit. You can just bet the Cowboys at that point. If you get the 5.5, just bet the Cowboys and you'll be there. Josh Allen rushing yards is always a good play. It's always a decent bet. I don't mind that at all. He's clearly going to move the football with his legs. He always does, especially if they're losing. Allen always tries to go Superman and hit. That means he tucks it and he runs. So I'm not horrible. I'm not angry about that at all. Liam, Buffalo total touchdowns under 2.5. I don't know. 24-21 gets us under and covers everything. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little scared of that. Under 2.5 touchdowns in any total touchdowns. No, don't like that. I think we'll see more than that. Any quarter goal is scoreless. No, I don't like that either. I mean, a field goal beats us on that bet. I don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of either defense, so that concerns me for sure on that. From the half man. Hey, Matt, I'm hardcore with you tonight. I grabbed 8.5 under 55.5. Was thinking under because of the weather was horrible, and you just reinforced my thoughts. That's great. Let me see if I can get a weather report here real quick on this in Miami. Because let's see if there's going to be anything really concerning weather-wise tonight. I don't know if we're going to have anything that's let's see. So according to Kevin Roth, who is an awesome weatherman that does sports gambling weather, if you guys don't follow him, at Kevin Roth WX on Twitter X, he said, we're nice and dry as we approach kickoff for Miami. High-res models pop some late storms, but I put the chances of those ending up over the stadium at or below 50%. So it's just going to be muggy. It's just going to be hot. It's going to be sticky. It's going to be typical weather in South Florida. I don't think there's going to be much in terms of rain. So, and again, as we go through this together throughout the entire season here, remember, we don't care about rain. Rain in totals have no impact. Wind matters. So when you get the wind off of a storm system or a wind tunnel off of a thunderstorm coming through the area, then we care, okay? Then we're concerned about the total because it's hard to kick, it's hard to punt, hard to throw. Not rain. So the mugginess for me, that plays into just overall conditioning. Like if you watched, and I'm a Patriot fan, but if you watch the Patriots play against the Bengals, the Patriots were in much better shape than the Bengals. The Patriots were ready to go. The Bengals had guys puking on the sidelines. It's week 1, okay? It's week 2. This is Thursday night. This is a quick turnaround. Get on a plane. You fly 3 hours from Buffalo, New York, down to Miami. You're in the sticky. You're in the hot. You're in the heat. It burns you out. You can't mimic this. Not in Buffalo, New York. You can't mimic the level of humidity that you've got. You can get acclimated and go down there early and go work out and all that, blah, blah, blah. You got 4 quarters of this. You got 4 quarters, and you just played 3 days ago. So your body turnaround is not ready for this. You're not used to this. So it's a spot play for me. That's why I think under 55. I think the weather comes into play, but not in the weather in terms of like the rain, not the way, you might think the weather may come into play. James Cook, first touchdown. Look, these first touchdown bets, I understand why you guys like them, but they're literally roulette wheel plays. Like you can make, whatever you want. You can make whatever like situation you want. You can make whatever like conversation you need to have. Sorry if you heard my kids screaming. I don't know. I heard my daughter scream for some reason. Sorry. It has a lot to do with like, what does the team want to do in the red zone? So do the Bills want to give it to James Cook? Sure. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. You can play it out, but it also could be a Josh Allen, rush. It could be a Tua QB sneak. It could be, an end around to Tyreek Hill. Like it's all, I never bet them. I never, ever bet first down touchdown just because it's such a crapshoot. It's so difficult to predict what's going to happen. Tight ends for Bill's score and Josh Allen's to score. Yeah, that's possible. I don't hate that. Adian Thomas wants to ask, any thoughts on Dalton Kincaid over 44.5 yards receiving? I don't know. Whenever I see numbers for tight ends between like 40 and 60, it feels like the books have a really sharp read on that. And how many catches do you need for Dalton Kincaid to get over 40, right? Like if he has 3 catches for 13 yards or 3 catches that go 10 yards, you still lose. So like, I think we believe like 44.5 yards is not a lot, but for a tight end, it can be. They have to be a major part of the offense. They need 4 to 5 catches to get there. And I'm just not sure we're going to get 4 to 5. Bills kicker over 6.5 points. I don't mind that. I don't mind red zone stalls. I don't mind that at all. James Cook, anytime touchdown, I could see it for sure. I mean, I'm playing Tyreek Hill instead, but I could see James Cook getting an anytime touchdown for sure. Coming up on that. This is a number I looked at to Juice. I really thought about doing this. He was awesome. He had 7 catches, right? Or he had 7 targets. He had a ton of catches. I forget it. He either 7 catches or 7 targets in game 1. He had a ton of yards. He was a huge weapon, but he's banged up. He was used so much, he got hurt. So he's going to be limited. I mean, how much can he play? How much can he go? I almost bet it. I talked myself into it like 4 different times. And I was like, I think, I mean, he's playing. You know, he's going to be involved in the screen game. You know, he's going to be involved in what the Dolphins do. They want the speed. So everything is speed, speed, speed. I like this. This is the last thing that fell off my card. Like this just, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bet this play because I don't know what HN's going to look like. I don't know how effective he's going to be. And that's the thing with player props. Like he has one bad snap and he gets re-injured and he's done. So like you're betting on a guy coming into the game was already nursing an injury and now you're going to put money behind it. It's hard to do this. Look, high stage, you're not wrong. He's 1-7. Tua can't beat the Bills, period. It's done. I mean, potentially, but you know what the Bills do? The Bills choke all the time. Like, I don't think the Bills are very good. So, like, this is a fade on Buffalo as much as anything. I just don't think the Bills, I think they've had a lot of talent drain over the last couple of years. I think the offense is not nearly as effective. And you could say, well, Matt, he scored 34 points against the Cardinals. It's the Cardinals. Like, this is a different type of team. This is a big game for the Miami Dolphins. This is a circle game. This is like, and you could say maybe they were overlooking Jacksonville week number 1, and they're looking ahead to this game because this is the game that they need. This could be, I mean, they play again in Buffalo later in the year, but this could be the tiebreaker. I mean, this could be a game that separates who wins the AFC East, who gets a home playoff game. Does the playoffs go through Miami or does it go through Buffalo? Like, these are two of the best teams in the AFC. And yes, obviously the Chiefs are right there, but the Bengals look like they're taking a big step forward, a step backwards. The Browns look like they're a complete and total mess. The Steelers might be better than we think. The Ravens are still very good, but how good is yet to be determined. They lost their opener. I can't wait to see what's going to happen here in the AFC. I think it's wide open in a lot of ways. Everyone that was penciling in the Jets going like, here come the Jets. Really? How do you feel now about the Jets? Their offensive line is still trash. They have an aging quarterback who looked lost at a certain period of time in that game against the 49ers. Their defense was supposed to be the calling card. We had people all summer long here in Vegas telling me the Jets were going to have the best defense in football. Really? Like, really? I don't understand. Daryl, this is a good question. You're saying Miami is Tua is 1-7 against the Bills. Tua passing yards are bad against the Bills. Sure. Don't understand why you're betting Miami 2.5. Because we don't just have one or two players on the field. This is football. This is man v man. This is the Bills secondary that's a problem. I don't need Tua to go for 300 yards. He can throw for 210 and still win. It's situational football. Run the ball at the Bills. Get them tired. I think that's going to happen. Use the speed for the Miami Dolphins. They're a faster football team than the Buffalo Bills. Look, the Bills have Josh Allen, and Josh is a huge problem with this. Is not the first time that Dolphins defense has seen Josh Allen. They know what he's capable of, and it's going to be hot. As I've told you, I think they run on the gas in the fourth quarter. And I think early in the year, this is where the separation comes in because of the weather, the humidity. Bills make a mistake. I don't think it's a big win. Miami by 3, 24-21. It's going to be Miami 24-21. That's my prediction on it. And so that's why you get a 28-24 game and it goes over the number right now, but it goes under my number of 55. So like that's possible. So you get the Bills losing by 4, by 3, we're good. If I'm wrong, I just need this game not to be a high scoring game. If the Bills win the game or the Bills cover, I just need this to be a lower scoring game than 55 points. And I've kind of created my own middle. The one thing that burns me, obviously, Bills win, the game goes over. That burns both bets. That's a bad night. Okay. So if that happens, bad on me. But all the steam has come in on the under. Thursday night, primetime game, rolling with trends, if you will. I'm rolling with trends on this and saying I'm just following the masses in terms of how we've been betting this and how things have been going, just because we're going. Oh, and you can throw parlays together, okay? But you have to understand what you're doing with this, okay? I know these are fun. I get it. I get the lottery ticket mentality. But you're the favorite person on the sports book. They love you. They see you coming and they're all like, here we go. Because you're donating to the book. You may clip this once or twice a year, okay? You may clip this. Jets +3, Colts +3, Texans, Ravens, 49ers, Chargers, Texans. Who beat you, right? You're looking at all that. Who beat you? Oh, those are great numbers. Who beat you? It always happens. There's always one team on that list. There's always one team that will lose. Colts will lose by 4 and they won't cover and you'll wind up losing. Like these are just donations. I get what you guys are doing. I understand. I don't think you should do that. And I don't think you should do any boost either. Okay. DraftKings is a sponsor of the Daily Juice. I don't think you should do boosts. I don't recommend them. I think boosts are just marketing ploys to come and grab you guys and take your money. Sometimes boosts hit. They do. Absolutely. Boosts can hit and you can be profitable with them. I just don't like them. I just don't like boosts. Boosts scare me. This is the teaser. That's what you can do. You can go plus 8.5 over 42. You can go the other way if you want. You can take the Bills plus 8.5 and go over. If you feel more comfortable doing that. If you think it's going to fall between 42 and 55, you can play them both. Like you can play both totals if you want. If you think it falls like 44, 46, 48, somewhere in that range, you can play them both. Bills plus 8.5 over 42. Bills plus 8.5 under 54.5. Now with the current number, you can do that. I don't know if I would do that, but that's not horrible. Good question, Drew. Half unit on all the props. So normally I do a quarter unit on the props. I'm doing a half unit on the props here. We've rolled well with the NFL coming out of the gate. I'm just going to go ahead and we'll have about a little over 4.5 units in play here. So the teaser is minus 120. The straight play is minus 110. And all 4 props are a half a unit to win a half a unit. So you're going to lay, some of them are minus 110, some of them are minus 115, depending on what book you're looking at. But that is basically it's 0.55 units down that you're going to put down there on that for that. Thank you for asking that question. That's good. For those of you who have just shown up and are late to the party and haven't seen the plays of what I am playing for tonight, you can fade or follow this depending on how you want to do it. Dolphins minus 2.5, Bills plus 8.5, under 55 from a total perspective. Tua under 268.5 yards passing. James Cook over 18.5 yards receiving. Keon Coleman under 44.5 yards receiving. And an anytime touchdown for Tyreek Hill for him to get into the end zone here tonight for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, we'll see a couple of more questions before we do this. Yes, I've already said that. Allen is 6-0 on Thursday. Already said that. You know what that stat means? Nothing. Same way that Tua being 1-7 against the Bills. You know what that means for tonight? Nothing. Those are just trends. I love trends. Trends are your friends until they're not, to steal a line from my co-host on BVB. So you can do that. Sprinkling on James Cook over 100 yards rushing and receiving. Hit last week. Love his involvement in the offense. Don't mind it. I mean, I like him. I like him too. I don't think that's bad. Says the professional that plays $1,000 per bet. Anthony, if you think I bet $1,000 per bet, man alive, I appreciate your confidence in me. And I appreciate you think that that's what my bankroll looks like. Can guarantee you I have never bet $1,000. What's the largest bet I've ever made? The largest bet I've ever made in my life, I think, is $750. I think that's the largest bet I ever made. So that was once. And that was a while ago. So doesn't happen. Okay. I wish I had. I wish. Oh no. Great question to end it on, Dom. Absolutely no to the first question, to the first ask. I do not recommend parlaying any of my picks, any of my plays ever. Not even 2-leg parlays. I don't believe in parlaying ever. Parlays are the recipe for bankroll disaster. Okay. The books want you to bet parlays. Slow and steady. If you guys haven't watched the Daily Juice before, I highly recommend you do so. Do this. Go and download the BettingPros app. Okay. Download it in the App Store. Download it in the Google Play Store. There, you're going to see 1, the Daily Juice, and 2, you're going to see a variety of other picks, plays, and stories. You can link all your sportsbook accounts to the app. And you can see the prop bet cheat sheet, which is really cool. It helps me make my picks and my plays. It can help you make your picks and your plays with great research. You can sign up for BettingPros Premium, which gives you access to all sorts of cool tools, all sorts of systems you can create for yourself and your betting system and your betting trends. How you think something's going to go. It's all on the BettingPros app for free. Download it right now, App Store, Google Play Store. And you will see my plays for the Daily Juice every day. And you will see that I rarely ever parlay. Rarely ever recommend a parlay. So always individual bets. John, we'll talk about round robin some other time. I don't mind round robins. I really don't. Okay. For those of you who don't, that's like next level up for betting. I don't mind round robins, 3-leg round robins in college basketball. I do that a lot. In the NFL, I don't love that. But I am a fan of those, but I don't love them. I'm a fan of those, but I don't love that. Anytime touchdown for Kincaid's not bad either. I don't mind that, to go ahead and jump in on that. Finally, before I go, guys, the Betting Pros NFL contest. You can join the NFL podcast group. You can join this by visiting the community tab in the Betting Pros app, which you should have downloaded, since I just told you to download it. Go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest as well. Sync your bets or use the quick pick feature on the Betting Pros app and get a chance to win free weekly or monthly prizes. You can elevate your betting strategy and join the conversation at bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Guys, we are back on Sunday morning. It's myself. I think it's Erickson with me for the 45 minutes. We're going to cut it 15 minutes short, by the way. We were doing an hour. We're going to do 45 minutes. We're going to take it from 12 to 12:45 from now on. So we're going to go a little shorter than what we did last week. So we'll do a 45-minute live stream right here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel for 45 minutes on Sunday. You will get a full recap of my card on the Daily Juice that will tape tonight to drop tomorrow morning. And then we go with 2 games tomorrow in college football, a ton of games on Saturday for week 3 of college football, and then huge into what we'll do on Sunday. Once again, on the way out, my plays: Dolphins -2.5, Bills +8.5 in the under, teased. Tua under 268.5 yards passing, James Cook over 18.5 yards receiving, Keon Coleman under 44.5 yards receiving, and Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown. I'm Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me on my socials at Sports Talk Matt. We will talk to you coming up next Thursday for another Thursday night live stream here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel.